What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Round Two podcast. I am your host, Nikki Corbett, and I am very excited to be here with another one of my friends from the Techstars program. We have Antonio and Ale with us. They are the co-founders of a really cool company called Awear. I'm excited for you guys to learn about them, their path to entrepreneurship, and their amazing product that they are designing and getting ready to put out to market. So, Antonio, Ale, welcome so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. We're
Of
so excited.
course. Of course. Well, why don't you introduce yourselves, talk a little bit about, how you got here and your entrepreneur journey and how you guys met up and all that good stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Antonio Forenza. I started my journey in the telecom industry, actually. About 23 years ago, I moved from Italy. That's where I'm originally from, and moved to the US, to the Bay Area for studying. And I liked the Bay Area so much, I decided to stay ever since.
Awesome.
I did a few years in Austin for my PhD, but then I came back to
Okay.
California. And like I said, I've been in the telecom industry all my life, deep technology background in digital signal processing, lots of patents, over 250 patents issued
Wow.
worldwide. Yeah. And
Amazing.
built hardware and software products
Uh-huh.
for 3G, 4G, and 5G cellular infrastructure.
Okay.
And more recently, also some IP for 6G, both in startups as well as in large corporations like Samsung, Freescale.
Uh-huh.
More recently, I was at Rakuten, head of R&D at Rakuten, a
Okay.
Japanese company, developing the first cloud-native cellular infrastructure. And yeah, so before this, I co-founded another company, still
Mhm.
in telecom, with a serial entrepreneur from the Valley.
Mhm.
Learned a lot from him. He was very seasoned and kind of got a passion for entrepreneurship from him. I was CTO and co-founder of the company.
Right
And
on.
so a year and a half ago, I decided to embrace this journey
Mhm.
and created Awear. I've been practicing mindfulness meditation for about 7 years. Done a few years of psychotherapy, had a profound effect on my mental well-being, and likewise many other interventions that they really help me with my personal growth.
Mhm.
um, and so that's how I decided to sort of take a shift in my career from telecom, use my technology background and leadership to build something that is helpful for people
Mhm.
in enhancing their mental well-being every day. And
Yeah.
so started with just talking to a couple of friends, building the team, doing a lot of prototypes, experiments, getting a few neuroscientists involved. And then Al and I had met, I think, 2 years ago through a really good friends of ours. And so she started working with us and became very
Crazy
passionate
enough to
about
join the team.
it. Yeah.
I couldn't help it really, because my story goes really in parallel with Aware.
Uh-huh.
I'm an engineer as well, like Antonio, and actually one of my first jobs was at a wearable company. So I've
Oh
always
my
been
gosh.
obsessed with wearables, and I decided not to study medicine because I didn't think that I would be good in front of patients all the time. But I've always cared about healthcare. So as an
Mhm.
engineer, I decided to work in medical technology.
Okay.
As I said, one of my first experiences working was at a wearable company. We were measuring heart rate and
Mhm.
respiration for sports. And that was a terrific experience. It was so
Yeah.
good, starting from scratch. And that kind of like sparked the passion about like wearables measuring, like how you can improve
Mhm.
when you have the right data to look into, but also how much more of a great experience it can be when you incorporate socialization in
Sure.
the use of wearables. And then from there on, I went into my second obsession, which has always been disease management, but mostly how can you incorporate lifestyle into the treatment. So my best friend got diagnosed with diabetes, and
Mhm.
I started learning more about it, like how much you need to combine medication adherence, but also with like healthy lifestyle uh, habits to live a healthy life and kind of
Yeah.
like be able to move away from being a patient. And so that led to 17 years of building digital health solutions for diabetes, Parkinson's, HIV, cervical
Oh,
cancer,
wonderful.
and many others, really to empower people to kind of like manage their health better.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of learnings there. I remember my best friend, she once told me diabetes is the best thing that happened to me because now I live a healthier life, because now
Oh,
my
yeah.
habits are better. Now
Mm-hmm.
I eat better. Now I exercise more. I
Mm-hmm.
live kind of like by different paradigms. And so the power of, identifying what's good for your health is
Sure.
amazing, and goes
I
beyond
love
medication.
that, what you just said, the power of identifying what's good for your health. It's so true. And I think that, there's so much information out there, right? We're inundated with information all day, every day, that it's almost can be overwhelming for people to try to figure out what should I actually be doing for me? Like what's good for me and my body. So having these technology or the technology and all these different things to help you with that is such a bonus if somebody really wants to make a change.
Yeah, and a lot of what we're doing is really looking at not only the personalization, because of course that's paramount, right? That we speak to what's happening to Antonio, to myself, like we
Mhm.
measure a specific reaction of yourself so that we
Mhm.
can understand what works for you. But also, what we're looking at is not only the bigger things that you can do, but what are those micro changes? What are those, micro breaks, but also the nano improvements that you can incorporate in your life
Yeah.
that don't take such a big effort, but can make
Mhm.
such a difference when you incorporate them little by little. And so I think that's what we, when we live a busy life, we have more difficulty identifying. And I think that's one of the greatest things that, when we're looking at mental wellness, we're pushing with Awear.
Yeah,
Well,
and I
you
think
keep pointing to your ear, so I feel like you need to introduce the product as we dive into this conversation a little bit more. So why don't you guys tell everybody what it is that you've created?
yeah, so it's a smart ear cuff. It looks like this. It
Mm-hmm.
uses EEG technology,
Uh-huh.
so it measures your brain waves, and then from
Oh,
your brain
cool.
waves, we use AI to map your brain waves into your emotions. Specifically for this vertical we're developing, it's stress and
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. Is some biomarkers that
Mm-hmm.
we are able to identify, and so by using that, then we use the app to give you these actionable, personalized recommendations
Mm-hmm.
to change your habits. So, say
Love
you're in a stressful situations, you're going to very stressful meetings.
it. Mm-hmm.
We measure this. One of the brainwave features that we measure is the arousal level, which is a metric very well known in neuroscience,
Mm-hmm.
which is typically when you are in fight and flight, for example,
Okay.
your arousal level goes up, and so that reaction is a natural reaction that any animals in the world have, including
Right.
humans.
Yeah.
The problem becomes when you're stuck into those patterns. So
Mm-hmm.
animals are very good in going back, switching back into a state of relaxed state.
Okay.
Humans not as well when you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
troubles. And so
Yeah.
we detect that because of our highly developed
Uh-huh.
neocortex, which is good because it provides a lot of creativity. We create with it. We do a
Right.
lot of cognitive activities, but also as a drawback of making us getting stuck into these patterns. And so
Yeah. Well, like it's
where
like how a dog can go and chase after another dog and get all up in his face and then take a nap 2 minutes later.
exactly,
I wish we
exactly.
could do that after that type of, you know.
Exactly, and the same reason why babies are like children are after the age that their prefrontal cortex is not fully developed yet, so they
Right.
don't have that, so they can very quickly switch between different emotions. And when you become an adult, then becomes much harder. So
Hmm.
what we do with this technology is to help you identify those moments
Hmm.
when you are experiencing these patterns, and so help you snap out from there much
Okay.
faster
I love it.
without so it's a way, it's, if you wish, it's a preventive care.
Hmm.
So you don't have to wait until you're burnout
Mhm.
or you go to depression. It's
Yeah.
a tool for preventing care, just like the Apple Watch.
Uh-huh.
uh, I think I mentioned to you that I lost 40 pounds last year, uh,
Yeah.
in 12 months, just by doing a lot of good physical
Hmm.
exercise, better nutrition. But ultimately, this is what helped me stay on track.
Sure.
This is what kept me accountable for my progress. And so the way all these wearables are helping us with our physical well-being, Awear is there to help us with our mental well-being. And so keep track of our progress, whatever we do, psychotherapy, meditation, whatever intervention we use to enhance our mental well-being, Awear helps us in that journey.
I love that. I always say that awareness is like the first step to any sort of change in any aspect of life, whether it's professional, personal, any type of, emotional maturity, physical well-being. And I kind of love that you guys have this double entendre, right? It's like you're wearing it with Awear, but then it's also increasing your awareness about your emotions and how you can make, drive actual real change within yourself.
Absolutely. In fact, that's the foundation of cognitive behavioral therapy. The mechanism is that your thoughts influence your feelings,
Yep.
and then your feelings influence your behavior, and then there is a cycle. The behavior influence your thoughts again. And so, if you start with negative thoughts, they generate negative feelings, and so negative emotions, and then negative behavior that reinforce negative thoughts, and that becomes a spiral. You start spiraling down, and that's what takes you to chronic stress, depression, and burnout. So with Awear, and the key of cognitive behavioral therapy is to label your emotions. So to name it. As you name them, then you can do something with it. You break the cycle, and that's one of the features of Awear. We help you break the cycle. We help you recognize when you're more stressed, when you have those negative, or when you're ruminating, or when you're going through.
I love that word.
Yeah, when you are through these cycles or negativity, and help you snap you out of it, or also what help you measure what's beneficial for you.
Exactly.
If you're doing half an hour of meditation, we can measure what that does to you. We can
Maybe
measure.
this will get me meditating finally. I feel like I've tried so many times and I always go, I start and then I'm like, I'm thinking about my day. Maybe this will be what gets me to finally give it a real shot.
Yeah, and we learned also by talking to a lot of people, a lot of users or backers like yourself, that's one of the things that people appreciate the most. That when you can see, over time, over the course of a week, which were the things that calm you down and that help you feel joyful, so that you can reproduce those things in your life. You can incorporate them more into your daily habits, and it might be, meditation. It might be going for a walk, acupuncture. For different people is going to vary significantly, but the key is recognize them so that you can actually build more of that into your life. And that helps you navigate and modulate, like Antonio was saying, your rumination, like how you tackle your emotional balance overall.
That's wonderful. So as you guys went along this journey, right, you had obviously the idea of how can we track our emotions, right? We're tracking our steps with, your Apple Watch or my Aura Ring, and we're tracking our fitness and tracking our sleep, but tracking emotions, I think that's a whole other level of all this. So as you went on this journey, how did you get from the idea to an actual physical product that was doing what you wanted it to do?
Yeah, so the first thing is I investigated all possible technologies. I look at all the neurotech devices out there, EEG, FNIRS, or also other, more established technologies that you use in clinical studies, fMRI or whatever, like all the different technologies. And I find out that EEG was the one that was most reliable to provide this kind of information and to be able to integrate into a consumer product.
Got it.
So the next thing I did is just did a lot of research on academic papers about EEG and emotions. And I realized there is over 10 years of publications on it. It's a very well-established area in the field of emotions and EEG and in neurotech. So it's a very mature. There's a very mature IP.
Okay.
And so what I said, okay, so it's basically the challenge here is to take all these IP and bring it into a product.
Sure.
And I start looking at different neurotech products. There's been a lot of progress done in the last 10, 15 years in neurotech. As related to EEG, there's a lot of consumer products out there. So it's not a lab technology anymore. It's actually in the hands of consumer. The only challenge that I saw back then is it was the form factor.
Yeah.
Because all these devices are in the form of headbands, helmets, or earbuds. We wanted something that people would wear every day.
Sure.
And so we started brainstorm. We went on and brainstormed for a long time.
Yeah.
Actually, during Techstars, we came up with all different types of form factors. We tried them all. By the way, in the process, we also prototype a lot. We start measuring brain waves and we start seeing patterns. We worked very closely with our neuroscientists from UCSF, some professor of electrical engineer from Università di Napoli with a lot of experience with BCI, Professor Arpaia. And so we decided that it was feasible, but what was missing was the form factor. So during Techstars, actually, we had a lot of interviews to understand the product market fit. We interview a lot of consumers of wearables like Oura Ring, Whoop, and we start seeing some patterns and in what people were looking for. And actually, you were one of them, and probably the one who inspired us. Because I remember after the interview with you, you said about the Oura Ring being stylish and fashionable.
Yeah.
And I still remember that day I went back to my bedroom and I started looking at the San Francisco Bay, and I said, okay, it needs to be stylish and fashionable, and fashionable. And somehow I thought about this ear cuff, and I didn't even know the name of ear cuff. So I Googled earring with a cylindrical shape, and an ear cuff came up.
Oh
somehow
God,
in my brain, I had this image of ear cuff. I must have seen to some museum, Egyptian museum, or some jewelry store. I don't know. But and so we start brainstorming on it as this might actually work. It's something that it's stylish. You would wear it every day, because this is just a prototype. The actual product will be much nicer than this. Might look like more like the one we have on our website, Awear.us. And so that's how it came out. And so from in Techstars, that's when we start working on miniaturization, creating the product, and now we are in the process of refining this journey towards production, basically.
Yeah. One of the critical things for us was, first of all, it needs to be usable. People need to be wanting to wear it all the time. Like we really wanted the user experience that was all encompassing, that makes this be an experience that I want to have every day. You know, like I want to put it on, I want to forget that it exists, but I want to know that it is there for me and that it matches who I am, my identity.
Yeah.
But mostly one of the things that we discuss a lot is that, taking care of your mental wellness should be a natural aspect of taking care of ourselves. Like we're so used to exercising, eating well. We hear about that and we don't raise our eyebrows anymore. It's part of like accepted regular life, right? And taking care of our brain, taking care of how we think. It needs to be just as simple as that, as easy as that, and as natural. But today, there's still stigma around it. There's still a sense that, there's something about whoever needs to do therapy or something like that. And so for us, removing that stigma and making it something that I'm proud of, that is part of my lifestyle, that I do, and that I want to show to others that I'm doing it. So part of the design, part of making it beautiful is about, making it part of yourself, of your identity and who you are.
Yeah, and then was that?
I said that makes so much sense because, I mean, it is true. I mean, like when we had our discussion and I told you guys the reason that I bought the Oura Ring, because it was gold and it went with my vibe and my aesthetic. And I didn't feel like I was wearing this ugly piece of equipment on my arm or, had to tuck something or attach something to another part of my clothing. I can wear this and feel excited, or I feel like it goes with who I am. And I also love what you just said, Ale, about wanting to be excited for what feedback it's going to give you. Because that is one of my favorite things with my Aura ring, because it tracks sleep. So I always look in the morning, because I'm unclear. I don't know what time I exactly fell asleep. Did I wake up more than I thought I did? And so I like that just for my own well-being, because I do notice that it helps me kind of like plan out my day. If I know, oh, okay, I got the normal amount of sleep that I need, therefore today's probably going to be good. I'm not going to have an afternoon slump or whatever. So I'm super excited to get this and understand how like my emotions play a role with sleep, or with like what type of exercise I've got that day, or how I'm managing, all the chaos that comes my way. So, and then also to have it look cool and be a part of my vibe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I would say, to add to that, there is also, like our long-term vision is really preventive care.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we want to go. So measuring stress and or calmness, if you wish, throughout the day is certainly a vertical, and mental well-being is certainly a vertical that we start with. But our long-term vision is really preventive care. So learn learn the health of our brain, basically.
Yeah.
And for that you need a continuous monitoring. So we use our brain and our mind for all our daily activities, including night activities, right? Like it's something that we use constantly, yet we never measure it. Like, when was the last time you had a brain scan? Probably never, right?
Ever, yeah.
I get that all the time. Like, I got my first brain scan 3 months ago, just because of my work. I was curious to see what's going on with my brain.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty crazy if you think of it, right? And we measure our physical well-being. We have the Apple Watch. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He did a doctor visit. Something was off with him. He went to the hospital, did some tests, and nothing came out of it.
Okay.
And then he found out that from the Apple Watch, his heartbeat was off. And went back to the hospital. They took him immediately to the emergency room. And he had a heart surgery, and he survived.
Holy
thanks to the
smokes.
Apple Watch. It's insane. It's
Wow.
fascinating. That story is fascinating. So of course the Apple Watch is never going to give you the precision on the ECG device that you find in a lab, but it's good enough to give you enough information that can save lives. Now, this is a very extreme scenario. You don't hear too often these stories, but the same thing happened with your brain. So are you about to have a neurodegenerative disease? Are you about to have a seizure? Are you about to have a stroke?
Yeah.
Are you about to, like, what's your glucose level? We recently discovered there's also some patterns, brainwave patterns related to that. So there's a lot of medical applications for this device. Many of them that we maybe haven't even thought about it. And so what we're doing with this is creating a platform that allows you to keep track of the health of your brain every day, continuously. And again, we are starting with measuring stress or measuring calmness, enhancing your mental well-being. But we believe the real long-term vision for Awear is really to having the capability of tracking the health of your brain constantly, because that's what we use most of the time, is our brain, not as much our body.
Right. Well, we hope anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's wonderful. And I mean, it's so true, because if you think about it, right, if you're taking care of yourself, you see maybe you have a physical every year, but they don't scan our brains. I mean, they don't even scan our whole bodies. They have different tests that they do to make sure that we're feeling okay. But unless something is really, really off, we're not getting that brain scan in our whole life ever, right? So to be able to understand more of what's going on in there, and how we can change our, environment, or our actions, or, how we think about things when we're responding to them, I think is really, really fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay. So you guys, tell me how, because I don't know the answer to this one. Tell me, how did you guys apply for Techstars? How did you end up in this awesome group that we all had?
Yeah, so we applied, we made the application, and I think the application process, if I recall, it was it's actually, they have this interesting thing in Techstars. They give you assignments for the selection. So we got together with Ale, and we realized it was actually a long process. Like they give you a lot of assignments even before you join the program. And so we knew it was going to be a big commitment. I talked to a bunch of friends who had done Techstars. They all had very positive feedback about it. So Ale and I decided it was worthwhile. And so we spent the month of December just doing all these assignments. And it was actually a good exercise because, they are practical things that you haven't thought about your company. So they make you think about your company in different ways.
Okay.
It's actually one of the things I learned from Techstars is how to manage a company like a science project. You really feel empowered because they give you understand all the levers that you can move, and you have full control on every single aspect of your company. And so it really becomes like a math problem in a way, which is fascinating. And so really Techstars gave me a new perspective to how to lead a company, how to manage a company. And so we started the program. The first week, of course, you were there, and I personally didn't expect there were gonna be so many international people from all over the world, and
That was the coolest
everybody.
thing ever.
Yeah, and everybody's on the same page. Like everybody's so cool, extremely smart people. Everyone brilliant, out of the box thinkers. Just the energy of the first few days, and then you give it for granted as you go through the program. But I remember just the first few days, it's just that energy of very creative people, all in the same room. So it was fascinating. The journey itself was a roller coaster. Was a hard work because you need to do your assignments, do all these seminars, and work on your company. And of course, all those assignments are to improve the way you manage your company, the financial model, business model, product market fit, iterating through the product, just all these things. Techstars makes it so much better, and it's fun. Again, with the I think that the weekend in Tao we all spent together was another really profound moment where we all get to meet, and I think also the partnership, our partnership as co-founders became much stronger.
I think to that point, actually, it became stronger even during the selection process. So, a funny thing is, Antonio is Italian and I'm Spanish. So, come December, I'm going back home for Christmas, of course.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the homework that we had to do was kind of like, on the phone, coordinating. And the wonderful thing about the Techstars process is that they not only give you a much better understanding, a framework to understand your company. It's all about understanding your customers in the market. And that's I think that's the differentiator of Techstars. And it all starts in that selection process. And we were doing JTBD, jobs to be done, interviews. I mean, at the beginning, we were interviewing, friends, doctors, pilots. That was fascinating. And actually, I think that was not the first time, but definitely it facilitated that we had more discussions about like, what's the user experience that we want for our users? What are going to be, who are our users going to be? And so I think that relationship started strengthening even from that moment. And the whole program is crazy, but it's crazy good. And I think that we came out of it with such a consolidated vision for our product, our company, and like how we want our users to feel. I think that that was one of the best outcomes that we got.
Here's a question for you. And I'm sure I know the logical answer would be, everyone. But as you guys have gone on this journey and you've done your customer research and you've talked to different people, do you feel like there is a certain generation that would be your like first target market? Or do you really feel like across the board, like any generation I know everybody could benefit from this, but like based on your research, do you feel like, okay, we have to do a certain type of target marketing to like Gen Z and then also to like boomers? Because I can see like Gen Z eating this up and being like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? But then I can also see my mom who's in her 70s being like, oh my gosh, I need one of these. This is going to teach me so much about myself.
I can take that. I think that We're starting with the generation in between, kind of like millennials.
Uh-huh.
And the reason for that is, first of all, that's who we are.
Yeah.
But also we find that, high performers,
Mm-hmm.
people who work under pressure, and people whose lives are changing and they need to adjust the way they manage their time and stress, and,
Mm-hmm.
how that is building into how they feel, their emotional balance, their mental well-being.
Okay.
Those are the people who feel the need most immediately.
Okay.
And I feel that we can connect to that user very well. We're talking about entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
executives of, high stakes companies, and
Mm-hmm.
that have high stakes positions.
Sure.
But also same profile, people who are starting their families and who
Mm-hmm.
need to attend to other obligations, and that's building in their need to be much more in control of their emotional
Yeah.
states, because you can't bring back home the stress
Mm-hmm.
from the office. So that's a little bit our target initially. But I agree 100% with you. I think that the beauty and the difficulty here is that everybody can benefit from
Yeah.
Aware, but they are going through different moments in their lives, and
Mhm.
so we need to connect to that moment in their life when
Yeah.
this becomes kind of like more front and center, or can be integrated into their journey. So I see a lot, students who are just coming to college,
Mm-hmm.
and the pressure of being away from home,
Yeah.
the pressure of the college itself, the performance, that builds, and they need those levers. They need to understand how they're doing and what's affecting them. So there's definitely a need for multiple generations. I see it in my dad. I
Mm-hmm.
want him to calm down because he has heart issues, right? And it all
Yeah.
means, his stress needs to be managed. So we are working in understanding exactly what are those moments where Aware kind of like can change your life for the better.
Yeah.
And that's where we're starting.
Absolutely. No, I love that. I'm so excited to get mine. I can't wait.
Yes,
I'm
you're
gonna
our
get it.
first
I love
customer.
it.
Yes,
I so that
still
that
have the
that
photo.
was so cool. I just remember walking up to you guys and being like, "Wait, when can I, what are we doing tomorrow? Like, how am I going to be able to get on the list?" And you guys are like, "You can do it right now." I was like,
We had just opened our pre-order that second, because
"Okay."
what we've done, we really want to get the feedback from our early users, and
Mhm.
so we were thinking, how can we make this happen? And we know that we're going to be bringing the product to the hands of users early next year, but we wanted to learn beforehand. So we decided to open pre-orders, so
Mhm.
anybody can come to our website, order one to be on the first, on the list, to
Mhm.
make sure that they get the first batch
Yeah.
that we produce. But also what we're doing is, out of the people who are pre-ordering, we're going to select who will be in our group of beta testing.
Oh, cool. Okay.
At the end of this year, we're going to be, like putting this in the hand of users, beta testing, getting that feedback
Mhm.
about, like our industrial design, how the app works. And
Yeah.
so it is super exciting because you are there,
Yeah, I'm
we're going to be
in. Any
selecting
help
those.
I can provide. I can't wait to start tracking my what's going on in here.
Yeah, we'll definitely
Yes.
send you the first pro. You'll be the first one because you did the first order. So definitely you'll
Awesome.
be our first beta tester.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been so fun. I love hearing more about your guys' story. So, I do have one question. How big is your team? Because I don't think I ever asked you guys that.
Yeah, so it's five of us.
Okay.
So it's me and Ale, full-time co-founders.
Hmm.
We have a few contractors. So we have two software developers, three with the hardware,
Got it.
and then we have a team of advisors.
Okay.
There is a couple of people who are joining us also with the branding and
Mhm.
Nice.
neuroscience aspect of it. And then we have a really strong advisory board of neuroscientists, electrical engineers with experience in BCI, brain computer interface, psychologists. So it's really a complex problem. Our
Mhm.
product, it has a software, the software component, the hardware
The hardware
component,
component. Yeah.
and the neuroscience component, so the
Hmm.
algorithmic component. So we have a very complete team at this stage that
Hold on.
sort of covers all those three aspects. So
Okay.
we're carrying out this all together, the hardware design, the software design, and neuroscience
Yeah.
to get to the final product.
And part of our advisory board, we also have two therapists that are also contributing to
Okay.
the application and practical aspects of it. So it's really multi-dimensional team and approach in product.
Yeah. No, that's so neat because I think, the software aspect of any tech platform or tech, technological, online program or app is so much, right? There's so much that has to be done. I mean, the amount that I learned about, the development side when we were going through Techstars and just having conversations with the different CTOs that were in our group and just learning like, how does this all work? Because I'm not a tech or I'm not an engineering mind or background at all. So just what little I learned through there, when I think about how then you have to add that in with like the hardware aspect and like how does it all connect and how does it give the feedback and how does it track everything. So it sounds like a monumental task that you guys have taken on to create this. And so I was very curious about who's hiding behind you guys.
It is challenging, but it's my previous startup was in telecom, and so we had a very similar problem. We had the science; it was more like the physics of and the digital signal processing algorithmic parts. We had the hardware, which was a 5G base station, and the software. So I would say that was technology wise was a way more complex problem than what we're solving now.
Okay.
Because of the signal processing, the board design is so much easier for EEG. The bandwidth, I mean, radio waves, you're talking about 100 megahertz of bandwidth. Here you're talking about 100 hertz. So it's a six order of magnitude less complexity, which makes it super easy to design the hardware. I think the challenge is more. So the challenge is more around the industrial design. So technology wise, I think we have it under control. Although startups, it's always a roller coaster, but we feel very good about the team that we assembled. We feel really good. It's gonna be still a lot of hard work to get to that shipping the product next year. But we are confident we can do it with this team.
Yeah, and I want to highlight something because he goes like, it is super easy compared to what I was doing before. That's something he can say because he has 20 years of experience.
Right.
This. Like this is not something that you can come in and all of a sudden create out of the blue. But the full body of experience that he brings in, my own personal experience with wearables and digital health, I mean, it makes it so that we can see through a lot of the challenges that we have ahead and kind of like focus on, the problems that we really need to break. And then, the terrific work that was done to assemble a team that is, the right advisors.
Yeah, that's very key.
So, he's humble and he minimizes that, but it's amazing the amount of work that has been brought also in his experience.
Awesome. Well, so tell everybody where they can find Awear, how they can pre-order, because I know from this one you're going to have some people that are very curious and want to learn more.
Yes, absolutely. So you can find us at awear.us, AWEAR.us. And you can go there and sign up for our newsletter, follow us for more news, updates on our product. But mostly what you can do is pre-order Awear. And right now, we are filling up our first batch of 500 users. So I urge everyone to rush because it's filling up really fast.
Good.
And among those 500, we're going to select a group of beta testers that in a beta testing program that we're putting together for the end of this year. So we're super excited about that. It's a unique opportunity to be part of the team, to give feedback on how we build these products and ultimately the experience that we're all going to have next year when we launch.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was really fun to learn more about your journey into entrepreneurship and all the great things that Awear is doing. So I look forward to continuing, coming along on this journey.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thanks for having us here.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.